Hello everybody, so in today's video I will be walking you through the process of writing and running a Python program in Visual Studio Code. Now if you want to follow along in this video, you will need two things set up for you. The first one is Visual Studio Code and the other one is also have Python installed in your environment. Now again, if you don't have this installed in your environment, please check the previous videos that I made where I went through the process of installing Visual Studio Code and also installing Python in your Windows 11 environment. I have included the links for those videos in the descriptions, so definitely be sure to check them out. Okay, so let's get to it. Now the first thing that I will need to do is to set up my workspace. So for that I will navigate to my file explorer and create a folder where my programs will live. Okay, so I will go ahead and do that. So I'm going to my file explorer down here and I will go to desktop right here, and here I'm going to create one folder here, and this is where my Python code will live. So I will call this ck data tech. Okay, so this is the folder where my Python programs will live. Now once I have that created, I will go back to Visual Studio Code and go to file and basically open that folder. So I will open folder and navigate to that folder that we just created. So I'm just going to click this and select it. Alright, so here now is my workspace. Okay, so I will exit out of this, and basically now I will need to write my Python programs inside this folder. So to create a new Python program, all you have to do is click here where it says new file and put the name of your Python program. So for this I'm going to call this one physpass.py. Now remember, you have to always name them as .py because these are Python programs. Okay, this is the only way that Visual Studio Code is going to know that you are about to run a Python program. So the extension should always be .py. So I'm going to click this. Alright, now notice down here it pops up this window asking me to install the Python extension. So this is the extension that Visual Studio provides for you to interact with your Python programs. So go ahead and install that. Okay, so that's going to take a few seconds, and now it has been installed. So I'm going to click out of this and go back to my program. Now, like I said, I call this program physpass, and the reason for that is because I'm going to write a physpass program. And if you're not familiar with this, it's basically one of the Python questions that tests your understanding of conditional statements and for loops in Python. Okay, so for this I'm going to get the descriptions for this question. So I have this website open, and I'm going to also put this one in the description if you want to take a look. So I'm going to copy the description of this question and we will write a Python program to solve it. So I'm going to copy it and I will put it here. So I'm going to put comments here like that. Okay, and basically to put comments in Python you can do this like triple quotations and close it. So this is multi-line comments, so anything that goes inside here is not going to run. So this is the description of the question, and what we want to do is to write a Python code that solves this question. Okay, so if you read this question, it says the physpass program is generally asked to check the candidate's proficiency in the loops in Python. The physpass program prints the number from 1 to n with the following modifications. So this is the part that needs to go to your logic. Okay, so the first one here is for numbers that are divisible by 3, it prints phys, and for numbers that are divisible by 5, it prints pass, and for numbers divisible by both 3 and 5, it prints physpass instead of the number. Okay, so let's go ahead and write this code. So to solve this question, what I will do is write a Python function that basically handles this logic and prints the output out. Okay, so the first thing that I will need to do is define a function, and I'm going to call this function physpass. Okay, and I will put my n, in this case to be 50. So I want to print FISPass to 50, and it should include number 50 in the output. Okay, so once I have initialized this value here, the next thing that I will do now is work on my loops and conditionals. Okay, so I will go down here and say for I in range, and we are starting from number 1 and we are going to n plus 1. Okay, so I will explain this. The reason why we are going to n plus 1 is because range does not include this value. So range will only go up to 49 in this case. So because I want to include 50 in the output, I will have to do n plus 1. So basically this will be 51, and now 50 will be included in the output. Okay, so once I do my loop, the next thing that I will do is do the conditionals. So the description of the question says if it's divisible by 3, then print FIS. If it is divisible by 5, print pass. And if it is divisible by 3 and 5, then print FISPass. Alright, so I'm thinking through this, and I'm thinking I should probably start with the last one, because that's handling both of these numbers. So I will go here and say if, and what we want to do is if I mod 5 equals 0 and I mod 3 equals 0, then here we want to print, so we want to print FISPass. So I'm going to copy this and put it here. Okay, otherwise elif, so let's go to the second one here. So any of this can come now. So I will do the first one here for 3. So elif I mod 5, actually mod 3 equals 0, then for this we print FIS, and then we also do otherwise, that is elif I mod 5 equals 0, then we print, what do we print for 5? Pass. Okay, and if the number does not fall in any of this category, then we just print the number. So we'll just print the number itself. So we'll print I. Okay, so let me explain this. So basically this operator here is a mod function. So what it's doing is it's taking the value of I and dividing by 5, and if the remainder is 0, then this value is divisible by 5. Now if the remainder is anything other than 0, then that means that the value that is here is not divisible by 5, and it is the same thing to this number 3. Okay, so we are taking the value of I dividing by 3, and if the remainder is not 0, then that number is not divisible by 3. Okay, so it's only divisible by 5 or a 3 in this case if the remainder is 0. Okay, so this is how you check remainders in Python. So it's the same thing it's doing here, and also the same thing it is doing here. Okay, so if you look at this again, this part is this one here, the last one here, and this part here is this one here, and this part here is this one here. Okay, and the last one here is going to print the value of I, basically the number, if none of these conditions are met. Okay, and this is the loop. Okay, so this loop will start from number 1, and then it increments it by 1. So the first round it's going to go to number 1, and then it will increment it to number 2 for the second round, and then number 3 all the way to 50. Alright, so it's going to check for numbers between number 1 and 50, and if any of the numbers in this range is going to be number 3 or is going to be divided by 3, then the value that we will see is FIS. If it's going to be divided by 5, it's going to be pass, and if it's going to be divided by 3 and 5, then the output that we will see is FISPass instead of the number. Alright, so this is my logic here, and then now to print this one to the console, all I need to do is call this method here. So I'm going to call this method down here, FISPass. Okay, and then I will save it. So we have our program ready now, and the next thing that we will need to do is to run this code. Okay, so how do we do that? In Visual Studio Code, running a Python program is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is install the Python extension. And I don't know if you saw at the beginning of this video, there was a pop-up here that was asking us to install the Python extension. Now, if you don't have that installed, all you need to do is go here to extensions and look for Python. So just look for Python extension and you will see it right here. So this is the Python extension, and so basically this will enable you to run Python programs in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I already enabled it, so I don't need to do it again. And now I will go back here and let's run our code. So to run this code, all you will need to do is right click this screen, and here you will see an option of running code. Okay, so you can directly run it from here, or you will also see an option here. Like if you look at the top right corner, you will see an option saying run code. So I'm going to click this. Okay, and there we go. Our program ran and we can see our output here. Okay, that's pretty nice. So once you click this, our program runs. Alright, so let's confirm if it's doing what the question is asking. Okay, so we have number 3 here. Instead of number 3, it's printing fees. Is that the case? Yes. So 3 is divisible by 3, so it's printing fees. And then here number 6 is pass. Sorry, this is number 5. This is number 5. It is printing pass. And the reason for that is because it is divisible by 5. And then the next one is fees. And in this case, it is divisible only by 3. So it's going to print fees. Alright. So let's check fees pass. So we go down here, and here we have 14. And instead of 15, it's printing fees pass. And the reason for that is because 15 is divisible by both 3 and 5. And that's the reason why we are printing fees pass. So that is what our program is doing. I mean, you can scan through it just to make sure that everything else is working as intended. So for number 50, for example, number 50 is only divisible by 5, and so we expect it to print pass, which is the case for this one. And here number 45, divisible by both 5 and 3, so we see fees pass. Alright, so that is how you write and run a Python program in Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is a great tool, and since I started using it, I have really liked it. Okay, again, if you don't have this tool installed, please check one of the previous videos where I walked you through the process of installing it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe now so that the next time I release a similar video, you will be notified. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Happy coding. Bye bye.